in past years, we've always had a big name recruit. But this year, I mean, we have some big name recruits still, but we operate more as a team. And, in past years, I think that was our downfall at different points of the season. But, this group seems to be all on one accord. And I've challenged the coaching staff a lot more this year, and as well as challenging the players.
I gotta get on all the younger classmen the same way Tyreek Smith and Jalen Harris got on me. That's the role I gotta play now. I was that sophomore, I was that junior that the seniors had to rely on. So now I gotta rely on the sophomores and juniors to come and fill roles that we need on the varsity.
Twice in your last 3 years, you guys have come down to Week 10 playing for an LEL title and a playoff spot and fallen short.
Yes, sir.
How much has that stuck with you?
Oh, man, it hurts. Seeing that Week 10, knowing we're not going to get a Week 11, it hurts. So that fire's been burning in us since we played Maple last year, and believe we're going to come for something this year.
Well, I tell you, there were a couple things about that Maple game that still gets me upset, but the thing that I did was, as a head coach in the offseason, I challenged myself a lot more. I studied the offensive side of the ball more. Most people know that I'm a more of a defensive-minded coach, but myself and the offensive coordinator, Kahari Hicks, I mean, we talk every day, probably 10 times a day, about our scheme and just the different players. So that Maple game, probably next day I think I was preparing for this season, so I'm excited to see what happens.
We watched that film over and over, so actually before we came out here, seniors watched that film, juniors watched that film, some selected sophomores watched that film. So this year we're just feeding off of all the things that they did wrong last year and make sure we're correcting that this year.
7-3, we feel like we can be better because the teams that beat us, it was little mistakes that beat us.
Lane Trice comes back at running back. Cullen Martin's back up front, although he is hurt right now. You got Mo Hamilton, who was a pretty big guard for you guys a year ago, but there's an influx of talent. You have a quarterback from Switzerland. Jayvian Holcomb came in.
Yeah, I mean, we have a lot of transfers, so we got a lot of guys that can go, that can help us get far in the playoffs. We have a lot of talent this year. We have a better receiving core than we did in the past. So now that we're going in the triple option, we can spread it up a lot too. So we have a lot of talent everywhere that we can hit you with and get back and forth and run with teams that don't have a lot of talent. So we can use that to our advantage.
Our defense is our biggest thing. We're gonna make a lot of plays on our defense. We got some key people that. We keep making plays. We gonna be one of the best defenses in the state. That's for sure. I see it, but we'll come along. We're doing good.
Initially it was teaching the offensive and defensive schemes, and now that we got most of what we're going to run in, now it's just getting all the personalities to mesh with each other.